Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Now today we're out once again hitting the river, but hopefully it won't be as boring as it sounds, right? I'm going to be fishing some of the same swims I fished in the last session. You know, the one where we were targeting big perch in the slack waters? Well, during that video, for those of you guys that watched all the way through, you'll have known that at one point I did spot a fish in the margin, which is a species of fish that isn't really native to the river. You never find him in there, but it's been washed in there from the floods. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to be targeting the slack waters, possibly some of the same ones you saw in the last video, in the hope of catching some of these different species of fish that have been washed in there from the lakes, from the fisheries, that aren't native to the river. I'm not sure what we're going to catch really. They could catch anything, but we're going to be targeting some of those slack waters, fishing with baits this time, not fishing with lures, and hopefully we'll catch some weird and wonderful fish from the local river. And fingers crossed, if I'm lucky, I might be able to catch a monster, you never know. Now, because we are going for species of fish that you wouldn't normally find in the river today, we are having to change things ever so slightly. I am still fishing my trusty barbel setup that I've been using recently, which is the Shakespeare SKP Concept Specialist 1.25, paired up with the Super Team FL 3000 and 8-pound line. So how I would do when I'm normally going for barbel and chub, but the difference is when we get to the rig end. So I am still fishing a free running lead, as you can see there, obviously on a large ring to help it free run. Fishing slightly heavier leads than I would do normally because of the heavy flow. I'm fishing sort of 1.5 to 2 grams, but this is where things differ ever so slightly, and that is the hook length. Normally if I'm going for barbel and chub, when you're fishing in the flow, you can get away with using a 2 or even 3 foot hook length, because the flow will keep your line tight. Because we're fishing the slack waters for fish that you wouldn't normally find in the river, the ones that are keeping out from the flow, we can't fish a long hook length, because if I'm fishing a 2 or 3 foot hook length, it's all going to end up in a slack water on top of each other in a heap, and when the fish take the bait, you're not going to get any kind of indication whatsoever. You'll probably miss a few bites. So I'm fishing a hook length of around about 1 foot, and I will actually shorten this if I'm fishing a dead slack, which is not moving at all. I could always get away with almost fishing carp style, fishing an 8-inch, maybe 9-inch hook length, and I will probably be able to get away with it. That's what we're doing today. We're hopefully going to find some mysterious different fish in the slack waters that you wouldn't normally find in the river. Let's go find some. We was keeping incredibly mobile this session. I'd got my big SKP rucksack, travelling light, and we was going to be hitting lots of swims. Lots of these swims are areas you'd normally see in my videos, but I was hitting the slack waters specifically to try and find some of these mysterious fish that could have been washed here from the floods. So it seemed like things weren't really going to plan. Not only wasn't I catching any of the fish I wanted to catch, some of these mystery fish, I wasn't catching anything at all. I was hitting some of the best swims on the river. I was fishing the slack waters where you'd expect the fish to be. I was fishing hair-rigged pellet, I was fishing worm, and I wasn't getting a single bite in any of my good swims. So I decided to head straight to the swim in the most recent video in the hope that maybe I'd be able to find something there. It did not take long before we had some action. Just a second cast in, down to the right of the slack water with a hair-rigged pellet, and we had a cracking take. Now that could have been a barbel, but it didn't feel exactly like one. I think that could have been one of the fish we were after. It did in fact feel like it could have been a carp. But feeling a bit defeated, I figured there must have been more fish in the swim. So I decided to change over to a piece of worm in the hope of just getting a bite off anything.
There we go, there's a fish, there's a fish. Scrappy little fish. Oh, it's a massive perch. I say massive perch, it's a decent one. I did put on a little worm, just to see if we could change what was going on in this swim. Started off with a pellet, lost a big fish, don't know what it was. Changed over to a worm, and it's possibly one of the same perch I caught last time I was here. Not really what I was after some different fish today. It was no surprise. Putting on a worm in a slack water, gets a perch, and he's absolutely choked it too.
Now, although this perch was a very nice fish, and I'd be happy to catch it any other day of the week, it wasn't one of the fish that I'm after today. So I continued fishing, and it didn't take long before we had another bite. Once again, it wasn't one of the fish we were after.
lovely chub. Fantastic little fish.
Thing is, the time was getting on now. Probably only had an hour and a half to 2 hours left to fishing. I'd only got one more swim left to go to, and it's the one I was saving till last, and that is the sewage drain. It's a drain that leads out from a sewage treatment plant that takes the treated water back out into the river. Guys, we're now at the sewage pipe swim, which is where a sewage treatment plant lets out the water into the river. The water down there will be slightly warmer. It is also completely slack in a man-made structure, and I'm sure there's got to be something down there. Let's get the rig in, just place it into the water and we'll see if we can get one.
We've hooked something. We've hooked something. Something big. What the hell? I thought I was snagged up. I've hooked something big. It don't feel like a barbel. Maybe it's a big chub. Or maybe it's something we've been after. Oh, that's a carp. That's a carp. It's a carp. It's a carp. From a sewage pipe. From literally in a sewage pipe. It's a big carp as well. Oh my God, I did not expect that from this spot. I was just fishing here really for the aesthetics. I thought maybe I'd get a small chub or something from down there. That's a carp. I can't believe it. I can't actually believe it. I did not take very long at all. I've been here maybe like 15 minutes in this spot. Oh, he's ripping line. He's gone right underneath all the snags. I might not be able to catch this fish. It's bigger than I expected to catch anyway. It's going out to the main flow. Problem is, they can just hold the flow. It's not like barbs that are torpedo shaped and you can actually kind of maneuver them. Big fat carp in very fast water just means they go out in the main flow, go downstream. You can barely budge them. I should have planned for the potential of there being bigger fish in here. I was expecting I'd be finding species that were a lot smaller. So I'm fishing 8 pounds straight through, but for a big fat carp in heavy flow, I mean, it's going to be hard work. The instincts kick in, they know exactly what to do, and they know that in that main flow is the best bet of escape when they're under attack. I get maybe 4 or 5 yards and he pulls 5 or 6 yards, and I pull 4 or 5 yards and he pulls 5 or 6 yards. He's getting ever so further away from me. Right, I'm going down here, guys. Need to get a different angle on him. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yep. 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 We got him to move. Make another run. That was him on the surface then. We've almost got it, guys. He must have just been caught behind some streamer weed. I wonder why he was so hard to pull. I can feel him coming. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. He's running, he's running, he's running. Yes. We're nearly at the end. Oh no, we're not. Yes, we are nearly at the end. We are nearly at the end. Yes. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes. No, he jumped out, he jumped out. I say jump, he just kind of flopped out. Crazy. Just how well they can adapt after being in the water just for maybe a couple of weeks max. Come on. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him, we're gonna get him, we're gonna get him. We got it. We freaking got it. Yes, that's a double figure carp, just not as big as I was hoping he was going to be. I was hoping he was going to be a lot bigger than that. Now the water is just here, so I'm just going to sit him just down in that water while we unhook him. See where that hook placement is. There we go, right in the roof of the mouth, which is no surprise because I struck upwards when I was, there's a pellet log, pellet's still on, down in the drain. So that's why the hook placement would have been on the roof of the mouth as opposed to the bottom, which you'd normally find in carp fishing.
Now I almost can't believe we finally got there. Partway through the fight I thought I'd got like an 18 pounder on because it just seemed like it was going on for so long. Fantastic fish, actually in really good condition. Adapted to the river very well because he was fighting so hard. Out in the main flow, finding the streamer weed. It's amazing how fast these fish adapt, and I'm almost confident this isn't a natural fish from the river. It's one of the nicest looking commercial fish, I'm assuming, I've ever caught. Look at its mouth. Maybe it came from a natural venue as opposed to a commercial venue. Either way, that is amazing. And from a sewer drain as well. Essentially a drain that comes from a sewage plant and dumps into the river. Absolutely incredible. I could not have asked for better. Oh, let's get him back. While I was playing this fish, I did see something else spook, so it was time to quickly get the rod back out there and see if we can catch any more.
I should have picked that up. Yep, there's another one. Is that another carp? It is! It is! It's another one, it's another one. It's another one. It's another one. Oh no. Not in for another fight like this, please. Oh, he's come off! No. Oh no. Oh, it was another big carp. That was how it was a mirror carp. I hope you could see that on the GoPro. Oh, it was another big in. That was another double figure. Maybe a little bit smaller, maybe like a 10 pounder, maybe just. Oh, that was literally what felt like just a few minutes after I've just landed the last fish and released it. I cannot believe these big fish are sat down in this sewage outlet.
As I didn't expect a bite to come so fast, I answered a phone call while the rod was in the water. And as always, when you take your eye off the ball, something happens.
The two biggest perch I caught was within a few inches of my feet at the bank, like right underneath my feet. Oh, almost lost my rod. Right, I might have to go because my rod almost got pulled in. Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye. Look at that. On the phone. Almost lost my rod. Yeah, I'm recording. My God, did you see that take? There's got to be another carp surely, unless there's a barbel down there. And I've impaled my welly boot with my bank stick. That could have been dangerous. Oh no, caught in the snag. Caught in the snag. Please let this be a smaller fish. I just changed over actually to a worm. Oh, it is a smaller fish. Okay, that's manageable. And I was just on the phone taking a work call. And there we go. Another one from the sewage pipe. Not as big as the first two that took it, but that is beautiful. Well, the first two fish I hooked in this spot were on pellets. Changed over to a worm section and it caught me a smaller fish, but look at that. Beautiful mirror carp. Beautiful little fish, but not really supposed to be in here, but they're doing all right, they're surviving. It's given me nice going through the years and catching these fish and finding them bigger and bigger. That's if they decide to stay around here. Right, let's get him back. See you later, buddy.
Now, quite a lot of time passed after this fish, possibly about half an hour to an hour. I was changing between pellet and worm and trying to find what they wanted. Eventually I just put a small pellet out there, a size 8, harried onto a size 10 hook and left it, sat back and relaxed. And it didn't take too long before we actually had one more bite.
Well, I've been fishing worm for a little while, just changed back over to herring pellet. And I was just looking through some of my footage because I've not had a bite in ages. And my rod, once again, almost got pulled in. It's only a little pasty carp again though, a little mirror carp.
And yes, yet again, it was another small mirror carp. Fantastic little fish, but still it was a fantastic end to what was actually a very stressful and very long session. What a way to end it. Well guys, what a crazy session that turned out to be. I was aiming to try and find some of the species that had been washed out of fisheries and ended up in the river in the slag waters, and one of the aims was to catch carp. I had seen a smaller one or two on a previous session after the perch in a particular slag water, hence why you'll recognise some of the swims I fished today, but I couldn't find him. I was getting chub, perch, some fantastic river species, but I couldn't find the invasive species that I was after, the ones that had been washed in, until we moved over to the poo pipe. In winter time it pushes out warm water from the sewage plant into the river, and that was where the carp was sat. Instantly, we were talking within 5 minutes of putting the rig in the water, had a fantastic, amazing battle off that great big chunky common carp that was probably getting on for a mid-double. Also lost a decent sized mirror carp and caught a couple of small ones too. Absolutely crazy bit of fishing. Those fish have never been in the river before. These would have come out from the floods, from the ponds and surrounding areas, and ended up in this river and seem to be thriving. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and maybe think about subscribing. Check out the stuff that I've used today, the setup that I've used. It tamed that carp so well. That SKP Specialist 1.25, I've used it for all my barbel fishing this year as well. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later.